All right, welcome back to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment, a Bannerlord series of YouTube videos dedicated to tactics in Bannerlord, advanced tactics to help you dominate your own game. We're continuing a previous video. This is the Siege of Onira. There's a huge defensive force in there. At this stage, if you didn't catch from the previous video, we've blown holes in two of the walls with our trebuchets. But we're still facing an incredibly formidable defense of almost 2,000 troops. So there are some tactics in siege. It's not nearly as advanced in open field battles, but this will be the largest siege I've ever attempted, so it should be interesting. As always, I run with player damage on realistic, in other words, the maximum damage, just for the suspense of it. Sieges always seem sort of final to me and sort of climatic. So to trick out my inventory, in this case, I like to add Jarids. I like to have a large bag of Jarids in all of the different slots, right? That way I have the maximum amount of killing power once we're into the battle. If you're not an archer or something like that, I highly recommend you have some sort of throwing weapon to counter the enemy's ranged weapons. So I've got a few random heroes to assign here. None of these heroes are particularly strong, decreased in melee attack damage. We're just going to kind of spread them out here to our different groups. I don't find it that valuable because oftentimes in sieges these groups get mixed anyways. So we're just going to kind of mix them around here and do the best we can. Strategically, obviously, we're going to be trying to get through these holes in the wall and then bring the ram up. Man, this is a huge, picturesque city. No wonder there's so many people there. I mean, I would live there. Anyways, we're going to sack it and burn it to the ground, right? That's what you do. At least we're going to try to do that. And one of the very first things you're going to see me do is pulling my 8th Corps. This is a Corps army division of very high-level companions. I've got some very high-level family members that are in there, and I'm literally just going to park them in the back here, safe behind this shed, until I need them later in this battle, right? This might be a half-hour battle. They have a huge defense force. You can see my troops heading back. God, that is just a beautiful city. You see my ram moving up. We've got guys. Okay, you can see them over there rushing both walls. I've got archers behind defensive placements here. I don't actually see any archers on the walls. So we're hammering them with trebuchets. Right now we have sort of a tactical advantage in this battle. I've got infantry. It looks like they're piled up here. I don't find that particularly useful, honestly. A lot of times what happens is your infantry will get in just far enough to get shot to pieces by their archers and owned, by their larger number of infantry. We're obviously outnumbered in the early stages here, especially with the 8th Corps being pulled back. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually pulling my units back. If you didn't see, I pulled them back, bringing the enemy out. The enemy has very high level troops. I mean, these are every single guy I've hit so far is level. There's a lower level one, but it's high level troops. And now we're charging with these guys. Once they're out, right, we need to be aggressive. We need to do as much damage as we can. It's unlikely that this wave of troops is like all they have. Right? I got archers there kind of supporting me on the sides. You hit your own guys sometimes. But I'm going to try to do as much damage as I can, and if it looks like there's an access to this door, we'll try to pour in. Not only am I going to take you guys out, I'm taking your javelins too. Drop my axe. You don't want to drop your axe. Okay, so they have plenty of defenders behind this as well. So just this first wave of skirmishing, we're not going to capture the keep in 5 minutes, folks. Like, you can count on that. A lot of times, I will focus on the enemies that are focused on my allies, right? If you're swinging a big battle axe, I don't want you guys pouring in there. Okay, pulling them out. Once they're out a little bit, then we'll get more aggressive with them. These guys are swinging the ram. We're going to be kind of cycle charging these two different doors, right? They're working on the ram there. And strategically, we're just trying to force our way through one of these different openings. Right, these guys almost have this door down. Now you can assist them a little bit. You just got to watch out for the murder holes to make sure you're not getting smoked. Of course, don't get hit by the ram. I assume in real life you would just get turned to jelly. Now, once that's down, watch these murder holes up top here. But you can really do some damage to the gate on your own. Oh, my dudes left me. They must not think that much of their general. I'm going to peek through the walls here. So this gate is almost completely unguarded. I see a noble standing there. And you put your shield up, bitch. How did that work for you? Well, she survived. That's amazing. How many hit points does she have? She's about maxed, right? That's amazing. Not surviving all three. Not too smart either. She's all brawn and no brains. So the enemy, at least for the time being, is not defending the gate at all. Right? So that's a little bit of a snafu with the artificial intelligence. So we're going to try to exploit it. Oh, here they come. Now they're not totally hapless, just kind of hapless. Now I'm not going to take on 50 guys by myself. So I already called up my 8th Corps, but there's a possibility I pull them back later. Ordinarily, it's very dangerous to do that because they have lots of... they have lots and lots of archers. But in this case, the walls are almost abandoned. I don't see hardly any guys on the walls. Maybe there's some guys. I see a few guys up in the tower up there. Right? Not that guy's not there anymore. But a lot of the enemy, it seems like they're off the walls. Probably because the walls are, they're busted to pieces by trebuchets. They're getting pounded by rocks. It's actually pretty good artificial intelligence. Oh man, I'm sorry. You're definitely going to kill your own guys a lot with javelins. This is just something that you're going to have to work on practice-wise. Obviously, you can see, even though I'm experienced at this game, I still kill my own guys sometimes. So this breach still seems like, a possibility for us to gain some access here. Gotta be careful. I just lost 10%. So we'll do a little bit of fighting, but a lot of times, of course, we're going to rely on our troops, right? We'll kill archers when we can. Don't let them retreat. Any guys that are coming out, take them out. But we're also not charging in there. Look at them. They're just lined up out there. Just waiting for us to come through that death trap. So we're not gonna. We're gonna wait. Look for, a more plausible opportunity to enter. Right? You could just F1, F3 here, and your troops will just, these guys are just barreling up. In this case, we're going to bring them up. We're going to try a little strategy here. We're going to try to bait the enemy. But we're also, essentially what we're doing is we're just looking for a weakness here. Somebody somewhere is gaining access. Okay, so over here, I see lots of death spam. The enemy is getting obliterated. So, I'm going to leave those troops there. I just want to peek to see what's happening over here. I don't know if the enemy shifted troops and my guys were chasing them, but they definitely made a puncture here. There are dead bodies everywhere. Let's see what we got going on. The artificial intelligence does a pretty decent job. Okay, so now they're bottled up. I'm going to pull these guys back a little bit. And I'll have them spread. Now, effectively, what we want is we want the enemy coming through this arch, right? We don't want to go through it because then you've got your 3 or 4 guys. Hey, there's that dipshit commander I told you about. We don't want the enemy having 20 guys attacking our 3. We want them to come through at us. Now, they may not, right? They may be pretty smart and just wait for us. But, meanwhile, right, like any guys that come through, we can just slaughter these guys, right? So I'm going to keep my guys back here. This might be our access breach here, even though it's a narrow gate. For the short term, we're just sort of skirmishing at the entrance to this gate, right? And I'm watching up in the top right corner there. It's mostly green death spam, right? They're getting an occasional kill, maybe 1 for every 4 or 5, but we're doing really well there. Guys are skirmishing. They're doing just fine. Now I'm going to run back to the other side and see if there's some kind of advantage, some kind of place we can puncture into this keep. I routinely am holding the Alt button when I'm running around. This guy. No, I don't think so. You're not going to sit there and pot shot my guys, dude. Sorry. There's all kinds of ammo on the ground. You're always trying to stock up on more javelins. It has a nasty habit of disappearing right before you grab it, right? It's just the nature of it. It can only have... The engine can only show so many items on the ground before they disappear. I see what's happening here. So my 8th Corps is up on that hill and raining death through this hole. That just looks like a total archery duel. Oh, except for these guys pulling through. They're sending their militia. They're sending their weakest forces out first, right? Yeah, so overhanded two-handed axe just lays waste to militia like that. You notice I'm not just sending every single guy in, right? I learn from people in Siege, and I saw a couple pretty good, Siege videos on YouTube. But most of them, honestly, people were just sending their guys straight in to get killed, straight into the slaughter. Sometimes you want to wait for the enemy, right? Sometimes patience is a virtue. Oftentimes patience is a virtue. So here we're just sort of battling it out. All right, this flank got wiped out. So those guys had a good position. Now the enemy's regained that hold there. That's fine. Again, this does rate to be a very long battle. I like what's happening over here on this flank. You guys don't come out. So my artillery is also lobbing rounds in there, which is nice because that means they're getting sort of passive kills. And I think they'll eventually run out of ammunition, but for the short term, they're adding to our attack, right? The gate is still very heavily defended. I might as well charge hell than go through there. I think this side over here makes the most sense because I have this archer support. I've got some of the 8th Corps up on that hill. You can see the arrows still flying in, so we are going to try to make a puncture with this group. Right? We're going to go into shield wall, and I've got my own shield up, and we're going to physically send them in. Right? I'm hoping they can kind of bully their way in through this mass of troops. Fortunately, it looks like it's mostly lower level troops, militia. You see the archers are just causing death. These guys, they're bottled up, but yeah, they're too strong. That's right. If I quit killing my guys, we'd have a lot better chance. This guy, he's just out here just swinging his little sickle. All right, so they may not be able to enter there, but at least it's a positive tactical exchange because my archers here are sending in death from above, and I've got really strong troops, at least for the time being, right at the entrance there. I don't think the gate is going to be very accessible still. It still looked like, they had this huge defensive force just waiting for us there. If I can get in on one of the flanks, then we can start to get a lot more aggressive. Troops inside the courtyard is what we're really trying to do here. These guys are close, but they're just not able to push through. If you use the Alt tab, it actually tells you they have 230 defenders there. So it's a very large force defending. They are making progress though. All right, we're bringing up the 8th Corps. We're going to try to puncture here. This is risky. No guts, no glory. Right? The enemy has a lot of defenders in here, but we're trying to essentially bull rush this side of the keep. This is going to be a nasty battle. Okay, so I need to clear a path here. Fighting is fine, but more important is to blow a hole open for the 8th Corps. The 8th Corps is starting to filter through. The enemy is thick right here. So what I want to try to do is get the 8th Corps up here, kind of up onto this higher area. I'm actually going to physically drag them. A lot of them can't get through the wall, right? So we're kind of divided. When you're divided like this, fly into action. If you can, physically help yourself, assign troops, be careful, don't get swept up in the tide of the enemy. I'm hoping they can just somehow puncture their way through there, right? Because right now our forces are effectively divided. Guys are focused on my enemies, or on my allies, take them out. Right, you run, you guys are outmatched. We're sending more reinforcements, but we have a breach. All right, so our guys are now starting to pour through. Let's charge. Let's send everybody. At least until a big batch of reinforcements come up, our turn to get aggressive. Right? They've got a good breach in the wall. They're pouring up. And now enough of our troops are up here. Those guys are just standing there. I'm actually going to pull the 8th Corps back because this battle may go for a while still. They're now into spread formation. I'm sending my 3rd Infantry. Actually, I don't want these guys going too aggressive just yet. We're going to spread them into a big wall here while my troops come in and form a big archery group. What I'm trying to do effectively is get all these archers positioned on this high ground and then rain death on the enemy. Right? A lot of them may be out of ammo at this point. Unfortunately, the AI is not brilliant. You see, it's still got troops guarding over there. Now, I have troops out in the field, so if it didn't guard the gate, then it would really be pinched. So it's not a disaster for the AI, but it's sort of fighting suboptimal, which is, is a par for the course if you've been playing this at all. They are raining arrows at us, right? So I guess they're not totally worthless. Take out their banner bearers anytime you have a chance. That kills the bonuses for those troops. We're really just slaughtering this militia. So, you know, when they have 2,000 troops, but 900 of them, or whatever it was, are militia, it's easier than it looks to make a puncture into a castle like this and really start to lay weight. Oh, shit, dude. You look just like an enemy guy coming right at me. So now we have holes burst in 2 of the doors. So going up here, sometimes elevation is better for sort of tactical command of the battlefield. See if there's anybody in here. I apologize that the first perspective makes people nauseous. Sometimes you got to do it when you're inside a castle because you just can't always see what's going on. The enemy has a large force there. They're just getting pounded with arrows. You can just hear the arrows raining down. And you see what I'm doing over there. The 3rd Infantry is just holding a shield wall while my elite 8th Corps on that upgraded knoll just wreaks havoc on the enemy. Right? I mean, it's just destructive power. Anytime you can gain a tactical advantage like that, milk it to the very end. Even though this looks like a difficult siege right now, our guys, through tactical use and some mediocre AI, we've been able just to absolutely steamroll this city. It's time to call the 8th Corps in to finish this off. I don't know how many enemy reinforcements are. There aren't very many though. Most of them are dead. That was honestly a lot easier than I expected. I was really preparing for a long battle. You see the value here of having elite troops, using them correctly, not just shoving them straight into the maw of the enemy. Obviously, we were tremendously advantaged by blowing holes in both walls. But if we can siege this town of this city of almost 2,000 defenders, you know, the sky's the limit. You know, again, I have very elite troops. Of course, I killed, you know, a dozen myself. But hopefully this gives you an idea of what you can do in very difficult sieges in your own campaign. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe as always. Most of the time, we're not just going to be showing massacres like this. A lot of the time, it'll be very challenging battles. Quite honestly, I think if this was an open field battle, the enemy might have had a better chance to win. But maybe not. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know that we're using superior tactics, taking advantage of mediocre AI, and as of this stage, conquering the enemy. Thanks again for watching. I'm actually going to attach these 2 videos. At the very end of the siege, a bunch of their recruits retreated to the keep. I'm just going to splice these 2 files together. And basically, we're attacking. We've got our troops there, troop selection. And this is sort of the compilation of the fight. This is the enemy within their own citadel, trying to maintain some kind of defense. And I understand most of these times, most of these battles, the enemy is basically just retreating to certain death. Right? I haven't ever lost one of these. This is kind of like the climax of keeps. That's not very difficult, right? They're just kind of standing there waiting to be fucking annihilated. Taken pretty easy without too many losses. Maybe I shouldn't have shown you this part, but it is what it is. Thanks again for watching my channel. Please subscribe, comment. I'm still doing the voiceovers, still new into those. So if it's unfamiliar to you, or if it seems like I'm talking too much, too little, too loud, too quiet, I could really use the feedback at this stage for battles. All right. Well, thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.